Back once again. We're doing a brother cast today. This is the bar exam. Don't get it twisted. Ali and Marcus both had some things to take care of today. They'll be back next week. But, that's all good because we're covering a Detroit legend today. So it's only appropriate that we do a Michigan cast, you know what I mean? Right after the drop of The Real Detroit, The Good, The Bad, The Beautiful, and The Ugly, the documentary, which is live right now on the Ethos Media Network channel. Of course, I am your boy Shane G. And of course, we have my brother, Mr. Eric G, in the building. How you doing, sir?
Man, we just Detroited out this whole week, ain't we?
Yeah, fresh off my trip.
Right. I'm like, all the Detroit content is happening right now.
Yeah, drop that doc, and then we got this Eminem album to discuss, So before we even get into it, how did you feel about the album? Because a lot of people have been critiquing some of his more modern work, you know what I mean? So when you heard this, how did you feel?
I have an answer, but I have a question first. What was his last album before this?
The last album was Music to Be Murdered By in 2020.
Okay, and then before that, it was Marshall Mathers LP2, right?
No, before that, it was Revival. No,
Revival.
I'm sorry. No. That's still wrong. Before that, it was Kamikaze.
Okay, that's right. Okay. So I thought that this was a really fun album to listen to, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really, me, like I'm not like a deep diver on like Eminem's music, like just like on like everyday listening, but I do listen for shit that I like to hear. And I did think that this was a very fun album. And I also think that he's kind of been on, people may agree or disagree, but he's kind of been on a good solid run of albums the past couple of years, which is why I asked you which albums were his previous ones. I feel like ever since Marshall Mathers LP2, he's kind of been like cooking up a little bit differently. Now, I kind of liked this because we knew what the concept was going into it. Like we kind of already had an idea. And I think people, just based off of what I heard, I think people are being a little too critical of the message that he was trying to get across. And clearly he was killing off of a character that has been around for pretty much since like his very start. So, I was very interested to hear like what concepts and how he was gonna, like exactly what he was gonna do to kind of make this stand out. And it feels like this is the one to me that feels like an old Eminem album put in today's era. And I feel like a lot of it he did on purpose too.
Yeah, definitely. So me, I am a big Eminem fan. I've never shied away from that. Even when it wasn't cool and when it wasn't popular to be an Eminem fan, I was still right there, except for, and I can admit his bad albums. I didn't like Encore. I think that was probably his worst album, in my opinion. And then I did not like Marshall Mathers LP2 either. Mainly for beat choices, because I think lyrically he's always been, who he is. But the beat choices were like horrible on that album. So then when he came back with Kamikaze, which is kind of the first set of this new run of Eminem that we've gotten, where, he's updated his beat selection and, he's updated his features. He's collabing with more, young talent and things like that. I feel like that started at Kamikaze, and then Music to Be Murdered By, side A and B. That's technically one album, but he released, a deluxe version, which had more tracks on it. Right. And then now we're here with The Death of Slim Shady. So yeah. Now I've actually seen both takes. I've seen in both extremes, though, is what I mean. Like I've heard people say, "Oh, this is trash. We don't need any more Eminem music. It's over." And then I've heard people say, "This is the best Eminem album since the Eminem Show." So like this is a really polarizing album, it seems like, because people are either taking one of two extremes with their take. It's either the best shit they ever heard or it's the worst shit they ever heard.
I got a good take here from the good homie Elliot Wilson.
Okay.
The Death of Slim Shady is M's best album since Recovery.
Okay. I can rock with that
I
because
when I had to think about it a little bit, and I was like, okay,
Recovery, a lot of people liked Recovery
yeah,
because it was the second album that he had after he came back with the from his issues, you know what I mean, like dealing with addiction, and when he took all that time off and after Proof passed away and all of that kind of stuff, he took a break, and then when he came back with Relapse. And now I love Relapse because again, just creatively, it's very like, I don't know how you think of some of the stuff, that the concepts and things like that he was coming up with. Um, but at the same time, I do understand why a lot of people didn't like it, because a lot of people felt like he was trying too hard to like be shocking and controversial and stuff like that. And the accents, he was using a lot of like playing with accents and stuff like that. So a lot of people didn't like that album, even though I loved it. Dr. Dre produced every beat on there except two, I think. So, when's the last time we got a full project of all Dre beats? You know what I mean? That's the last one, I'm pretty sure.
right.
So I like that album, but Public Consensus, a lot of people didn't necessarily. So cool. But then when he came to Recovery, everyone was like, oh, he's back. He's back. He's back. You know what I'm saying? That was around the time that Forever dropped, if I'm not mistaken. So
It was. It was.
So now, in my opinion, though, that was actually production wise when he started to go downhill. That was the album, in my opinion, that did that. And the reason I say that is because I love the Way You Lie was on that album, him and
Yeah.
Rihanna.
And
I
that
feel
kicked
like
off a
after
whole
that,
chain reaction of those pop records that we kept getting for years.
yes, I feel like once he kind of was sticking to a formula, like, oh, okay, let me do like, let me rap like how I rap, but I'm gonna have a pop person on the hook, and the beat is not gonna be like a traditionally hip hop sounding beat necessarily. So I feel like he was kind of going on that path for a while, and then Kamikaze came, and then
Yeah.
it was like, oh, okay, you do still have a good ear for beats. Okay. Oh, okay. Like you do. Oh, you got Young M.A. on here. Oh, okay, that's fine. Oh, you got Juice World. Oh, okay. Like, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, so he started doing that. So yeah.
It was
I'm
showing that he was a little more tapped in.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So Marcus is running a little bit late, but he is going to be joining us. So we'll get his take in a moment. But do you have any favorite tracks off of this new album?
Yeah. I got a few. So I really like Habits with White Gold. I thought that was like, even though that wasn't like the main intro, I kind of look at like tracks 1 and 2 kind of as like one and the same. So I really liked Habits. Um, I thought Fuel. I think Fuel might be my favorite song on the album with JID. And I'm not even saying that because I'm biased towards JID, but they were both rapping like they had a point to prove.
Even
Eminem never has to rap like that anymore, but it's impressive to see another person keep up with him like that.
Even if you don't necessarily or I'm sorry, even if you are biased towards JID, I feel like this track proves why that bias is allowed.
Exactly.
Like that proved why you should have a bias towards him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
snapping.
Yeah, and then I really like Guilty Conscious 2 and
That's
Head
my favorite.
Honcho with Easy Mill.
Yeah.
Because those are some of the more bar heavy centric ones.
Yeah, exactly. I like all the ones that you named. I also I think Guilty Conscious 2 might be my favorite song on the album. And the reason I say that is because that is the concept of the album. That
song's up there for me too.
It's like, if you want to know what the concept of this album is, all you got to do is listen to that song, and that'll paint the entire picture of the whole album. Like, that is the point he was trying to illustrate right there, was everything he did in Guilty Conscience. So I like that one a lot. I like Head Honcho. You said that one already. I like Bad One. Bad One's fire.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the single Toby. Big Sean, and Baby Tron. That one actually had to grow on me. I didn't.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that when I first heard it either.
I'm not gonna say I wasn't a fan of it. I'll say that it wasn't what I was thinking we were gonna get when you put that combination of people together. I was like,
me too,
curious about what it was gonna sound like, and then when we got it, I was like, okay. And then my initial reaction, everybody in the group chat, we all like, so what you think about the new M joint? Baby Tron and Big Sean, and so everybody was pretty much saying, everyone kind of agreed, like, it's cool. It's not bad. It's not whack. It's not trash, but it's not great. It's cool. Yeah. But I think the more I listen to it and in the context of the album, I think it is a really good track because, first of all, Baby Tron was able to mostly keep up with Eminem and Big Sean, which is super impressive based on the body of work we've heard. You know what I mean? Because he's more of just a, punch in and punch line rapper. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't necessarily, he raps off beat like how a lot of the new Detroit dudes do, all that kind of stuff. But on this track, he was exactly in the pocket he needed to be. He was spitting bars. He had nice flows and multis and like all the stuff that you would expect a rapper to do when they get on a song with Eminem. He did do all of that. So they gave me a new appreciation for Baby Tron's skill level, actually. Like, I already knew Big Sean could rap, so that wasn't a surprise, but Baby Tron surprised me, and I think that's why I actually like the track more and more the more I listen to it. He
definitely, to me, he stood out on the track more to me because he was able to keep up with them.
That's what I mean. Because it's expected. We know you can rap. We've heard you on tracks with Eminem before. Like, we know this is fine. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not really, it's impressive, but it's not a shock. Whereas Baby Tron shocked me. I was like, oh, okay. Like, you didn't just come on here doing your normal Baby Tron thing, which is good. I like it, but that wasn't going to work on this track.
Well, that also shows me that he's getting better.
Say that one more time.
I said that also shows me that he's getting better.
Yeah. It's like he's taking his craft seriously. It's not just a money thing. Yeah. Because you can usually tell when rappers are in it just to make bread, they're not trying to get better necessarily. They're just trying to do what works so they can continue to make money. Whereas Baby Tron is evolving. So that was definitely a good look.
Yeah, I agree.
Road Rage. I really, really like the song Road Rage because we'll get into the bars a little bit later. But he's just tapping into a lot of the PC culture stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, we watch Jimmy Dore all the time. And you know what I mean? The messages, it's like they're purposely trying to, do what they call woke now, even though that's not the correct usage of the word, but we'll just say it for the podcast. All the woke stuff where it's like, oh, you can't say that, you're going to offend this group, or oh, if you make this joke, then you're going to get canceled and all of that. And he was directly tackling all of that on this song. And he was expressing his thoughts about certain issues. He spoke about trans people on this song and he wasn't making fun of them. You know what I mean? He was saying, I believe in your rights. I believe in this and that. However, I know that you used to be a man. So you can't take that out of my mind. That doesn't make me transphobic just because I recognize the fact that you used to be a dude. Like, you can still have your rights. I'll still treat you whatever. I'll still call you the pronouns you want and all of that kind of stuff. Like, but I don't have to like engage in it in order to be a supporter or to be an ally. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I felt like that's something that a lot of rappers have been shying away from. You know what I mean? They don't talk about like those type of issues. They'll talk about black issues. They'll talk about at large, fuck Trump and stuff like that. But when it comes to like those type of issues that you kind of just assume everybody on, the left, for the lack of a better word, feels the same on, it's like, nah, there's differences. And I like the fact that he was able to express that on this song in what I feel is a respectful way, but still getting his point across that, like, I don't have to agree with everything in order to be cool or be a good person. You know what I mean?
If this were the M 10 years ago, that verse wouldn't sound like that.
No. It would sound a lot more like his Caitlyn Jenner jokes that he was making throughout the album, where he was like, Jenner don't fuck with me. She told me suck her dick and stuff like that. Like, so, he had that side of course, in there as well.
Of course.
You gotta have that. Otherwise, where's Slim Shady at? This would be a full Marshall Mathers album if that was
exactly.
The case. So yeah, I definitely enjoyed this album. I like the subject matter. I like that, he did get back into a Slim Shady bag, and even the times where he was doing almost like a 2024 equivalent of a Slim Shady joke, like when he said, "Here, I'll pull it up." On I can't remember the song actually right now, but I do know that he said, he was like, "Get back, Dre. You can't tell me what I can't say. That's gay." And I don't mean in the good. He was like, and I don't mean, what did he say? Hold on. No, I got to find it. He said, and I don't mean the good kind of gay either. The type where two men fuck each other and hate beaver. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just funny shit. Like, that's funny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and
yeah, there was a few moments in this album when he made me laugh. Like when he, like there was, I don't remember what song it was, but he kept mentioning Christopher Reeves, and I just thought that was hilarious. Like him bringing up the same old people that he used to diss, but like doing it in like on like a new twist.
Yeah, and that was the funny thing to me too, because my boy Phil in our group chat, he already was like, man, he's still making fun of Christopher Reeves. And I said, yes, but the context of it is he's explaining that these are things that Slim Shady did and would say versus his real self, Marshall Mathers wouldn't. He's saying Marshall Mathers wouldn't make fun of a handicapped person, blah, blah, blah. Whereas Slim Shady's like, fuck Christopher Reeves. I don't give a fuck. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So we'll actually get into some of the bars on Guilty Conscience too. Because I definitely feel like this is a good representation of the full album. So here, I'll actually pull up the lyrics on the screen one time for the one time.
I'll at your boy.
All right, here we go. Why does it feel like I'm always being tortured? The bad apple spoils the whole orchard. Used to read comic books to learn more words, because deep down I'm a dork, just a core nerd, meaning nerd to the core, till I'm cornered. Then I'm the coroner. Whose shot is this? First, second, it's your third. Vision's more blurred, speech is more slurred, can't even form words. That's all hard.
Yeah.
And let's see right here. So can't wake up, try my damnedest, but old habits are coming back, and now transgenders attack us frontwards and backwards. They laugh and throw midgets at us. See, this ain't no dream now, huh? See what I mean now? You see how they tried to make me out to be some kind of mean, vile, obscene, foul prick? I kicked one freestyle about beating down a special needs child, and these people freak out. And he said, told you we'd get slaughtered for saying retarded. Oh, Marshall's gaining a conscience. This may come as a shock or have you astonished regardless. Here's the thing about retarded people. They don't fucking know they're retarded. Like, so like, you just got a lot of like,
makes sense a little bit.
Like you just got a lot of clever stuff like that in there. And then Eminem is responding to Slim Shady. So, well, okay, you want to fat shame, bitch, two can play that game. You want to judge people, matter of fact, ain't you the same one who hated bullies calling you bad names? Then you turned around and did the exact same? Just immature and literally, you're still mentally 13 and still thirsty for some controversy. You still picking on Christopher Reeves, yeah, but you're me and we're a team. That means we're in cahoots. That's conspiracy to commit murder lyrically, so clearly you're the accessory like jewelry, and you ain't the judge or the jury, just as guilty. You rip on paraplegics, man, seriously? Like, so he's talking back and forth between himself. Like, if you look on the screen, you'll see that the Slim Shady lyrics are all like italicized, and then the Marshall Mathers lyrics are written straight. So
yeah,
I just think we've seen this concept before, of course. T.I. versus T.I.P. and different the Hustler versus the Problem, Cassidy, he's done it. So we've seen this before.
The split personality thing.
I like his take on it.
The whole split personality thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he definitely did a good take on it. Do you put any stock behind the Kendrick Lamar bars that he had?
Yes, I think. Here I'll go to those really quick.
Yeah, because I
That
kind of
was
did too,
on the
because
track
he was too
Renaissance,
specific about
the
a few
opening track.
things.
Yeah, so here let me find those particular bars. Okay, here we go. So he says, let me pull it back up. He says, now let's travel inside the mind of a hater because I don't see no fans. All I see is a bunch of complainers. Kendrick's album was cool, but it didn't have any bangers. Wayne's album or Ye's couldn't tell you which one was lamer. Joyner's album was corny. Shady's new shit is way worse. Everything is either too tame or there's too much anger. I didn't like the beat, so I'm hated, might delete later. You nerdy pricks could find something wrong with 36 chambers. So,
Oh,
yeah,
he's
I put
saying
a
a
lot of
lot
stock.
right there, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. He's basically saying no matter how skilled a rapper is, or how dope their pen is, or how much time they put into their craft, you
People are
guys will
always going
find
to find a way to
something
shit
to
on it.
complain about and say it's whack, even if you can't do the same thing. So, yeah, no, I put a lot of stock in that because I believe that that's pretty true. And this album is sort of proof of that. But in the, not the backlash per se, but the response to it. You know, a
Yeah.
lot of people saying, oh, this is horrible. Eminem should retire and all of that stuff. This is what he's talking about right here.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You'd probably find something wrong with 36 Chambers. You know, so and that's the classic Wu-Tang album. You know
You
what I
know what
mean?
that bar
Yeah.
kind of makes me think of? It's
What's that?
I heard somebody say this about like about the review of the album, and they were basically like, M talks about like loving this like certain era of hip hop like all the time in all of his albums. How come he doesn't just go get with the producers and like make a few collabs with a few of those people that he always mentions? And my thing that I just kind of took away from that whole little section of what he says is even if he were to do that, people would still find a way to shit on it.
And not only that, yes, he does love the era that he grew up in because we all do, but Kendrick's album was cool but didn't have any bangers. So you're shouting out a new rapper, Kendrick Lamar. Wayne's albums are yays. Okay, they're a little bit older. Joyner Lucas. Joyner's album was corny. Shady's new shit is way. He's shouting out, you know, modern rappers. He's not only shouting out rappers from his era or from the
Right.
90s. So that's already, you know what I mean? He likes skilled rappers. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Rappers with skill. That's why Big Sean was the only dude out of Detroit, aside from like his homies, you know, Royce and them. That's why he was the only like younger guy that Eminem was rapping with for a long time because he's the only one who like lyrically impressed Eminem. Everybody else was making dope music, you know what I'm saying? But what bars has Icewear Vezo said that would impress Eminem? You get what I'm saying? Like, so I
Yeah.
think that was the disconnect for a long time, which is another reason I'm really happy Baby Tron was on this project because it does show that there is a little
A
bit
way
more.
to bridge that gap.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So we have Mr. Marcus in the building joining us. What up, my brother?
What up with it?
What up with it?
So this is turned from a Michigan pod to a Midwest pod, but we're still representing, you know what I'm saying? St. Louis in the building. You feel me? Midwest all day.
All that.
M's
All
up.
that.
But yeah, man. So we chopping it up. We talking about this Eminem album. You know, we talked about some of our favorite cuts. Have you had a chance to listen to it?
So I think this is respectfully, bro. I think Eminem's goal is to get canceled. Like I think so. You gotta do you remember when when the Slim Shady LP came out, like that formula of what it was, and it was his claim to fame. It was who he was as an artist, and it was different and it was new. And he's, you know, we always say, oh, we want the old Slim Shady, we want the old Slim Shady. So now he's like, oh, well, I can name it the death of Slim Shady and give you the 2024 version of who I used to be. And it's not that it doesn't come across, because see, when did the Slim Shady LP come? Was that 2002?
Slim Shady LP came out in 1998.
Damn, so I was even off by that. So I said 4 years past 2000. So 98, bro. 98, the fans. So I was 84. I was 14, right? 14, 15 in 98. We were all grown up. It's not that I don't want to hear that. It's, you know what it is? It's everything that we wanted from Andre 3000 that we're getting from Eminem. If that makes the sense.
Yeah, expound on that a little bit.
Huh?
I said expound on that a little bit. What you mean by that?
So when Andre 3000, came out with the Flute album, we were all looking for like, oh my God, we want that. Oh, 3 stacks. Andre 3, he gonna come with some heat. He coming with an album. The 20, he grown. He talking about this. This is what we gonna get. And then he said, nah, man, I don't really be making that kind of. I'm gonna come with a Flute album. But everybody was wanting this old school, this redefined new version of your old school self. That's what we wanted. We didn't want this Flute nigga. I mean, it's cool that you did that, but that's not what we was looking for. Right. Whereas Slim Shady, Eminem has given us a redefined, an updated version of his old persona. And we don't necessarily want that.
So this is what me and Eric was saying before, because we was talking about like just the internet reviews and the response to the album. And what I've seen is the two extremes. I haven't seen any nuanced middle ground takes. I've seen two extremes. I've seen this is trash. Eminem needs to get up out of here and retire. And I've seen this is the greatest Eminem album since his beginning work. And I haven't seen it in between.
So this is respectfully, right? We've all, what do we talk about Nas, right? How we talked about with Nas. I'm trying to think of who else did we talk about with a solidified fan base
that's older.
That solidifies your numbers. Whereas you don't have to necessarily come out blazing mainstream, but you can tour, do shows. You got a solid string base. You're not selling out arenas, but at the same time, you're not doing clubs either.
Right.
You're not a festival, but you also not doing just you're more like an amphitheater.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're that great, mid grade right there. You're above the club niggas because you can't really book you for a club because you'll pack that bitch out. But you also not doing stadium tours with a production team and that type of 18 wheelers and sets and you're not doing that either. So I don't know if the Eminem fan base today is what it was, because
I think it is.
You think it? So the 98 fan base, right? The 98, 2000, Dre, because 2001 came out with Dr. Dre, when that's Eminem in his peak, the birth of 50 Cent, came off of Eminem in his peakness, So all of those people are now grown up, bro. Your fan, you grow with your fan base, So his daughter Haley's married.
Yep.
Yeah.
Married.
His daughter graduated college.
Yeah, So I want to stab Kim and do all of this and cook the mom and the mother of the bride. Like you, this doesn't, it doesn't really. I don't want to say it doesn't hit and trend, but I don't necessarily. I'm not in that same space,
sure.
and that's just for me. I'm not saying I'm not a fan because some music has been repetitive. Like you take 3 6 Mafia and Jeezy, I ride to that shit today. like I did right back then, and it will take me back to it. So certain artists, I think, do certain things for you as you get older, you know, of what. And like, and I am a fan. I'm not gonna say I'm not a fan of Eminem. It's just it just didn't hit for me.
Okay.
Like, and I'm not, but at the same time, I'm not an Eminem stan either. Now the Eminem stands out there. Oh my God! You know, this is what they've been longing for. They haven't got a new project from him that he's taken seriously in what, 10 years?
Nah, that's what.
Nah,
so he was having
his past
too,
two
actually.
So I said a project he's taken seriously.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, what do you mean?
So like, what was his album before this?
Music to be Murdered by in 2020.
I don't think that was a serious album for him. I think that was
a deluxe version with like 28 tracks on it. What you mean?
So, you know how you get you want to try new things as an artist, or you want to try. I feel like one, he missed the boat to try new things as an artist because he's locked into who Eminem is, right? So I don't think so. On his previous album, you didn't get any of the Slim Shady, right? You didn't get that type of Eminem. You got him trying to be a different type of artist from what he was. So
I don't know about on that album. I do think that happened for a while, but I think that was like early 2010s, and this is what I think a lot of people do. And I'm not necessarily saying you're doing this, but I think a lot of people do this where they have an idea of when they stopped kind of fucking with him, and they've held him to that idea, even though I feel like he has actually evolved as an artist. Because if you go to the Kamikaze album, you know what I mean? If you go to Music to be Murdered by, like I just mentioned, I feel like you did get a little bit more to Slim Shady in there just because of the theme of the album. You know, it was an Alfred Hitchcock movie, essentially, that he made an album. That was the theme of it. So, you know, to me, I feel like... I
can agree with that.
Yeah, so I do understand what you're saying, though, in the sense of in 2024, can society listen to a true Slim Shady project and actually appreciate it for just the art and what it is versus everyone being upset about it and getting canceled? Like you said.
I mean, like,
and as a society, probably not because of where we're at now.
Right.
I mean, but I also, so I'll say this: society, social norms, generational norms, economic norms. We're in the puff pastry. Both of you are avid. I won't even say fans, wrestling aficionados.
Yeah,
like that's a higher degree of fan where you understand the backstory, the lineage, you know, where things come from. Both of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you, the peak is what era? The Attitude Era in wrestling.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Attitude Era in wrestling was its peak, but also none of the Attitude Era could survive in 2024. Not one person who you hold in high regard, from even jokes and gestures from the guy, you know, the Godfather walking with the whole stroll with the pimps and the whole, like, I mean, to any of the things that The Rock said and the Stone Cold, and then the DX, you got pictures of people saying "suck it." Like, I mean, that's in 2024. Everybody's offended over something, and I remember this. I was a retail manager at a kitchen store, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, bro, we gotta play some music like in here because this store is fucking dead. Like, I mean, I don't care if it's fucking elevator hold music. We gotta play something. Like, it just can't be fucking silent in here.
Right.
And I was like, every other store has something playing. And I brought it to my GM and I was like, yo, we gotta, because I don't even think Pandora was the only like kind of streaming thing. And do you know what he told me? And I didn't really appreciate it then. He told me, he said, no matter what you choose to play, someone who walks through our door, a potential customer or a customer, will be offended. And it didn't hit like that didn't hit me until years later. I thought he was just telling me no because he thought I wanted to listen to rap or he didn't. I don't even know what he thought I wanted to like. He was just saying like somebody would be offended, but he was actually ahead of the curve. Looking back on that lesson, because there is someone's offended over everything, bro. Everything. Even if you sat there and been like, oh, well, if y'all play Christmas music, we don't celebrate pagan holidays.
Yeah.
You like, what? I don't want to go to a store that celebrates Christmas and not the and then, whoa, it's just no, that's not the real birth of, and then you get you just go down this rabbit hole and you're like, damn, I don't want to buy dishes from y'all. And then you get other people who like, oh, that's sacrilegious. They're making fun of Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus didn't have a big jolly red suit. Not my hem of my garment. Like you like what you like what?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody, and it's not to say all. We're talking about fringe niche groups.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, but what we've talked about now, crazy people and craziness has always existed. But you know what? Crazy people weren't connected. Now they have the internet where not to keep going biblical, where 2 or 3 are crazies are gathered, there ain't gonna be no rest. Because guess what? The crazy person in Detroit and the crazy person in Phoenix and then the crazy person in St. Louis was just in their own little right. They were just crazy. But let them 3 crazy motherfuckers get a podcast.
Yeah.
Now they've linked all of their crazy. Are you crazy too? Do you stab marshmallows when you sleep? Do you lick the window before you go to bed? I lick the window when I go to bed. You lick the window? I sometimes throw marbles at the window. And now y'all debating on how to fucking be crazy, window licks and eat marbles. And now you've got into the chat if you've done any of this. Now somebody's like, you're like, what the fuck is this crazy shit? And other crazy people are sitting there like this. So
don't let them enter the chat. It's all bad if they enter the chat.
Yeah. So now the way the end is so much more has changed in 2024. Legit. To be honest, if an artist drops an album, right, because of the way we process music now, albums used to be for sale.
Mm-hmm.
Albums are no longer for sale. So when you drop an album, how is the artist getting paid? Streams? Is it marketing the song like for ad revenue? Is it saying so? What you don't have to spend your money necessarily now to support that artist, because guess what Eminem did? Whether you hate him, whether you like him, whether you were in the difference, you still listened.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you still had an opinion to say about
some of these other bars, because I do on what you said, Marcus. I'm gonna pull up this other screen, and Eric, go ahead. What was you about to say?
Oh no, I'm good.
So and I say this respectfully, as we talk about the Eminem album, it's not on a Not Like Us scale. Nobody's doing skits and doing memes and creating dances and it's not that. So, but we still can't say it's not successful either, because it's not what is at the no one's talking about it. No, you're not talking. I mean, no one's on the NBC Olympics quoting Eminem Slim Shady lyrics when Canada loses.
Right.
When Canada loses.
Right.
No, Canada lost.
I get it.
And they played Not Like Us.
I know, that's why I laughed.
On the grand stage of the Olympics. Now,
yeah. No, I feel you.
Now, you tell me what type, like, that's the, now I understand hate. I do. I understand when people are haters. I cannot say that there is a Drake hate train like this, or let me rephrase, an artist hate train like what we've seen form against Drake.
And that's why I feel like this is such a, that's almost a hard comparison to make because nobody has done not like us in forever. You know what I mean? This is where I think Eminem's conversation is coming from, right? So this is what you're talking about, Marcus, when you say he's trying to get canceled. So he says, yeah, I walk around more confused than my Aunt Linda's man friend, a black transgender Klan member who's a Caitlyn Jenner fan and a member of Grindr and Tinder. Like,
so hold on, is this the one with the Christopher Reeve? Is this the one with the Christopher Reeve with the voicemail?
No. This one, he's kind of tackling more of like, yeah, maybe all of this trying to be super nice and PC shit is actually detrimental. And he's actually covering it in a fairly serious way on this song. Like he has his lines, of course, but like for the most part, it's pretty a more serious take, I would say. So some of the funnier lines, of course, is what it is. It is what it is, though. But this is showbiz, so things ain't never really truly over till Lizzo sings. So that's funny. You know what I mean? But this is where it gets real. So he says, we should coddle fat people. Yeah, here's a concept. Let's celebrate onset diabetes. Instead of us dieting, we can just have a pie eating contest. And we should be extra nice instead of honest. Instead of exercise, it's easier to find a triple exercise and try to press society to change so you don't have to change. Pick up a way to eat less than fries make your blood pressure rise as it starts increasing. All that starch and grease and clogged arteries. And these are the reasons for your heart disease and can't tie your shoes. Why? It's too hard to reach them. But the way things been with today's thinking, we should baby them instead of shaming them. But enabling can do more harm than good. So call me Abe Lincoln because I'll be honest and I can flip in Abe Lincoln. So Abe Lincoln, I can flip in Abe Lincoln. Like he does that throughout the whole album where he's on that wordplay shit. I love that. All I need is one little road rage season. So, that's some real shit. You know what I mean? Like there is a thing where I'm not saying that you make fun of big people, you make them feel bad about themselves or anything like that. But there is a thing where it's like, the whole body positivity movement. And it's like, oh, you can be as fat as you want and you can be as big as you want. And there's no health issues with that at all. You can get diabetes from anything. So it has nothing to do with your weight. Like, these are science facts, though. Like, yeah.
The one that they did about the Lizzo with the fat people thing.
Yes.
Probably one of the best South Parks in the history of South Parks. Like and it's iconic because of what they were saying, how they were saying it, and who they used to tell the story. Like it hit from all levels. It was this is what people hate about like shock comedy and things that are offensive. If it's fun, if it hits, it's never offensive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
If it's fun, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Like if a coach goes for it on fourth down. If you
it's a bad play,
that's on you.
If you make it on 4th and 1. Oh my God, gutsy, courageous call. That coach really believed in his offensive line and he knew he had the powerhouse to make it. Gutsy call, great coaching. That's why he's the best. Goes for it and they get stuffed and they miss it. He had 28 seconds in a timeout. He could have just punted the ball, gave his offense another chance, and he didn't have to throw the game away with this much time on the clock. Really shows his inexperience, Brett. And we just know that, if he had a couple more years in the league, that he wouldn't have made these kind of indecisive decisions. You damned if
that's
you do,
exactly how it
damned if
goes.
you don't.
Yeah,
So
that's a really good analogy.
so which one is it? You know. So here we have Eminem. Like I'm happy that he got it out. You know, it's good for him. It's great. It's not really my cup of tea, but you know, I'm not really the best Eminem fan now at 39. I'm just not. I'm not. You
No,
know,
absolutely.
and you know, I'll say this as far as Eminem's stardom goes, right? Eminem was the glitch in the matrix.
Yeah,
Before Eminem, there was never any white person of straight Caucasian descent, not mixed. We're talking white. No half and half. White and trailer park to come in hip hop and not only be in hip hop, excel in hip hop, and now arguably be considered the great, like the GOAT of hip hop. Arguably. Not saying he, but you can
Yeah,
make
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
the
opinionated,
argument.
but
Yeah,
this is the
I mean,
Yeah,
conversation.
people made that argument.
yeah, you know, you know, he's no Jay-Z, but he's number two. You know, whatever. You can make whatever argument you want, but he's still up there, right? So he was an anomaly. So then you know you were forced to be an Eminem fan because of just who he was and what he stood for. Now, since then, we've had about 6 or 7 other white rappers, seen even white boys with bars, had white, you know, battle rap. It's not so much of a surprise and a shock in 2024 that a white boy got bars. In 1999, a white boy spitting,
Looked at him like he was crazy.
and then, but then to sit there and be like, had that little Martin Luther King meme of face, that motherfucker spitting. to, to, have, to have that, to have that with it too, like, come on, like everybody was a fan of Eminem. You had to be. You had to be.
Yeah.
I mean,
I do want to get into this next verse though, just because again, it's a common topic that's out there, you know, on the internet, and a lot of people, you know, it gets slightly political. But a lot of people, you know, traditionally on the left wing or consider themselves Democrats or progressives or, you know, any of those type of labels, um, wouldn't say some of the stuff in this second verse in a serious way, which I do again feel like Eminem is trying to address this topic in a serious way. So let's get into this one. So his last verse, he says, "So transgender rights, where do I stand? Oh, I'm all for them. No, I really am pro. But intercourse with you, would I have? No. I'm just being honest. Now I'm an asshole. Call me a transphobe just because I can't go and try to pretend you was never a man, though. I mean, damn, bro. It's just the way I feel. But if I say it will, it get me canceled? My music gets banned? Or can it withstand? This shit is quicksand. Man, I'm just saying. I gotta participate for us to coexist? Damn. I gotta memorize pronouns of a cis man? How come we can't just show solidarity with a wristband? And this ain't even to diss trans people. My dick just won't expand. Them tits won't make it stand. But Caitlyn's a big fan." So, yeah, a little shot of Caitlyn Jenner there at the end. But again, that's a serious verse because that is how a lot of people feel about the whole trans thing. It's like, yo, do you? I don't hate you. I don't want, but I don't have to pretend like I don't have to be involved in your world in order to feel like you should be left alone and have rights and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's what he's getting at, because there is sort of this thing where it's like, you know, if a trans women are women, right? That's like a common phrase that everybody says. And it's like, okay. But if we acknowledge that there is differences between that, then all of a sudden you're transphobic, or, oh, why are you so focused on what's, you know, like these are things I've heard, you know what I mean? Why are you so focused on what's in somebody's pants? Like you're reducing people to their genitals instead of the being that they are, and all of this type of stuff. And it's like, okay, but what Eminem just said right there is an opinion that a lot of people have. The whole, damn, I got to be a transphobe just because I wouldn't fuck you or I wouldn't date a trans person. That makes me like, you know what I'm somehow like that's crazy. So What are your thoughts on that? Both of y'all. What are you guys' thoughts about that? Because like I said, I do feel like he was tackling real issues on this song, even if he sprinkled in a humorous bar every now and then. Like he was saying some real shit.
I feel like if there was somebody that is, I guess, qualified to do it, it's probably him. Just because of the way that he can break subjects down and actually make things full circle and like make it make sense to a wider audience, especially his audience. I also think on the flip side of that, that because of who he is, certain people will hear that and they will take the what they perceive to be the bad parts of the verse and they won't really try to flush out his full meaning on what he actually means when he's saying that. So I think it's twofold, but I mean to me, I mean it makes perfect sense to me, but I just can see like kind of like how we're saying on both ends of the spectrum, while people are saying that they either really love this album or they really hate this album. It's kind of the same thing on the spectrum on this subject for me. If you think that what he said has merit, then you're not really going to look at it two ways. But if you kind of already have a side eye towards the things that M has said, and if you're like kind of looking for a reason to continue to say, give reasons why he shouldn't still be rapping, then I think people will kind of look at this verse as one of those things. Not that I think they should, because on the surface of it, if you look at it, he's not outward dissing transgenders. So, you know, I just think that it takes a little more than just hearing it and trying to pass off judgment. Like you have to actually listen to what he's saying too.
I feel what you're saying. I agree. I also feel like, I'm gonna go a comedy reference. Everybody remembers Bernie Mac, right?
Of course.
And Bernie Mac would say, Bernie Mac would say, you know what? I'm just saying what y'all scared to say. Y'all know it too. He would say that all the time. I'm saying what y'all scared to say. So if Iceman Vizo, right, said any of the same things that Eminem is saying, right? Mm-hmm. Does it get traction? Does it get the outrage? Does it get the, oh my God, the people speaking up against taking a stand and writing letters and saying we shouldn't support this, but Eminem, however, is a big enough target that if he says it, and if he feels this way, and we should stand against it, and this is not your right, and you support. So, he can take the hit, if you will, or he can say it, and it, you know what? Nah, if Caitlyn Jenner, because guess what? If Caitlyn Jenner and him take a picture together, which I think they have, I don't think because the same thing happened. Oh shit. What's the dude name?
John situation.
Yeah, Rocket Man. That I could with Elton John. So
can I provide a little bit of context to that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just because I feel like that's slightly different. And the only reason I say that is because when we were coming up in the 90s, the F word, FAG, that was a very common word that we didn't even necessarily use against gay people. We used it against mostly other straight dudes who we were trying to emasculate and basically call them, soft or, you know what I'm saying? That was sort of how we used it. Like, you know what I mean? In the 90s. Yeah. And then it slowly evolved into like it was always a derogatory term towards gay people, but it started being recognized as that, I'll say, in the 2000s versus in the 90s. We didn't even think about gay people when we said the F word. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think that was almost his way of saying, just because I use these words and use this language doesn't mean I actually hate gay people. Like, I'm not thinking of gay people when I'm writing my rhymes. Like, I'm thinking of the rapper I'm dissing, or I'm thinking of such and such, and you just call them that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I think he did the Elton John thing. Whereas he's specifically talking about trans people. So now if you were to take a photo of Caitlyn Jenner, it would almost seem like, oh, now you're backing off of what you said. Versus the Elton John thing, I think that was more of a like, yo, I don't hate gay people. Like, I just say the F word because that's what everybody says. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Okay.
I see where you came from with that point. Like I see where you made it make sense, if you will. So
I try. I try. But you brought up a good point though. And these are some lyrics from the song Guilty Conscience 2. So he says, this is Slim talking to Marshall. He says, I helped you get your stacks higher. That diamond sells like sapphires. Rap buyers admire packed lines of admirers. Now they say that you lack ire. That's why your satire backfires. Flat tires, no longer that guy that you were prior to this. Yeah, and I scared you because I'm who you used to be. The one who didn't crumble under scrutiny when it was just you and me. I gave you power to use as an excuse to be evil. You created me to say everything you didn't have the balls to say. So that's kind of what you was talking about, right?
Yeah.
There.
I mean,
it leans directly into
always
it.
Been witty.
One more time.
Right? I mean, he's always been witty. Had a way with words.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I just think now he's not saying things just to say them.
Exactly.
Yep.
You know, I think that's kind of the biggest difference of Imp, Slady then and Shady now. You know, I do not believe he was saying, it goes to what you were saying about the Elton John thing. You know, I'm not saying it to just to attack. I'm just saying it in this instance, but not realizing where and how many legs and where this is going to go and be spewed and used against me later. And you know, I didn't think it
came after him when he was on MTV. The gay lesbian, you know, organization. I don't know what the AAD means, but I know the GL is gay and lesbian. So, you know, they were protesting outside of TRL and shit like that when he was first popping. Like, so he's been dealing with this like for his whole career.
So it just wasn't as loud back then.
Yeah.
So at this point, right? You know, let's go back to comedy, right?
Okay.
Out of the artists today, mainstream comedians, right?
Yeah.
You know, in my mind, there are 3 comics who are in an untouchable status where they can say something so horrendous. And actually, I'm gonna go 4 now that I think about it.
One of them's Dave for sure.
Dave Chappelle is one.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Schultz is another.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Corey Holcomb.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I've recently started watching this white guy, Kill Tony.
I've heard of him, but I've never seen him. I've never seen his shit.
First of all, you ain't seen offensive, crazy shit till you start watching Kill. Anything that I say,
I can up you, and I've never heard his stuff, but I can up you. I can almost guarantee it.
Kill Tony, like the whole show is crazy. Like they say the most offensive. It's great. It's good. It's good comedic fun, but it's wild.
So for you, this is. I want you to look up a comic named Anthony Jeselnik.
Oh yeah, I heard of him. When he did because he did a roast too. I found him when he did somebody's roast. He's that shock. He's the same. I feel like the guy Killed Tony. Tony starts with an H. I can't think of his name.
Hinchcliffe or something like that, right?
Yeah. I feel like he's better than Jeselnik. I feel like he's more.
I'm a chat.
That's
Jeselnik is the GOAT when it comes to that type of humor to me. When it comes to just so he
that dark ignorant humor,
and it just takes wild left out of nowhere. You're like, what the fuck? Like, and he just moves
like dark humor.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's like
great.
So they was like, what's the most offensive joke you've ever written? And he said that we need millions and millions more mosquito nets in Africa so that we can save mosquitoes from dying of AIDS.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Dog, that shit was horrible. And I'm like, and that I'm like, that's wild to say. That is wild. You want to save the mosquitoes?
He says, I was holding my baby nephew and I accidentally dropped him one time. And all the ladies came up. Oh my God, how could you drop a baby? And I looked at them and said, how could you not? So I do feel like that is what Eminem historically has brought to the game, right? So yeah, early Eminem, Slim Shady, 98 to 2004, we'll call it that era.
Right.
There was a lot of just shock rhymes for the sake of shock rhymes.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that. And now,
I feel like everything Britney Spears was a shock rhyme.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, for sure. Or even on the song Criminal, where he says, hold on, I'm gonna have to actually look up the bars because
could you imagine if he went at Taylor Swift like he did Britney? Like how the Swifties would have came and listened and screamed and protested against him.
Like in today's era, yeah, that'd be crazy.
That would
they
be
don't
crazy.
play.
Hold on, let me look up the lyrics.
Like imagine Taylor Swift having, imagine Kanye having the Taylor Swift moment now at the Grammys.
Oh Lord.
Before or after the Jay-Z Grammy speech about how she's the most nominated with the lead. Like, throw that in there too. So, but you can either put it before the Kanye moment or after the Kanye moment. It doesn't matter. Just make sure it's in there when you tell the story.
So here go the lyrics from Criminal. This is the first verse, mind you. This is immediately how he starts off the song.
Okay.
My words are like a dagger with a jagged edge that'll stab you in the head, whether you're a or les or homosex, her math or a trans or vest, pants or dress. Hate, the answer's yes. Homophobic? Nah, you're just heterophobic. Staring at my jeans, watching my genitals bulging. That's my motherfucking balls. You better let go of them. They belong in my scrotum. You'll never get hold of them. Hey, it's me, Versace. Whoops, somebody shot me, and I was just checking the mail. Get it? Checking the mail. How many records you expecting to sell after your second LP sends you directly to jail? Come on, relax, guy. I like gay men, right, Ken? Give me an amen. So he's just, that's just shock value for shock value's sake right there. That's what that is. And it's excellent rhyming. You know what I mean? Like, so that was his gift, you know what I mean, for a while. And now, like you said, he has that, but there is more of a point to it now. It's not just, let me just diss people and say shit just to get people talking. Now it seems like there is much more of there's a message he's actually trying to get across when he's saying a lot of the stuff, you know, in this album. Because realistically, the theme of this album was defending free speech. That was really what this album was about. It was anti-PC culture, anti-cancel culture, and pro-free speech. That was the main thing that I took away from this album, which is why I think he was kind of doing his best to revert back to Slim Shady on a lot of these songs, is because it was almost like proving a point. Like, no matter if you like it or not, I should still be allowed to say things that I want to say without, quote unquote, being canceled. Now, I do feel like Eminem is too big to be canceled. They've tried it multiple times, which is what I think he's also referencing on this album. Because I know earlier this year, Eric, remember me and you watched, remember I got you from somewhere. You was in your room playing a video game or something. And I was like, hey, fam, come here real quick. And I played you that TikTok of Gen Z reacting to Kill You by Eminem. And
yeah. And they were bugging out.
When did he drop this? And I'm like, in 2001. Right. What are you talking about? Like, this has been out. Like, y'all are just not hearing this? Like, you know what I mean? So that was funny to me because it's like, I remember when that album came out and that was like one of the first songs that, you know, I was like, oh, I can't play this at home. Like, because he was wilding on that song. And I was like, okay, I can never play this song at home. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So just, it's funny to see people who were, you know, when I was, you know, how old was I in 2001? Let's see, 14 or 15, something like that. So to see people who are now in their 20s reacting to Eminem like that, and they're all shocked and, oh my God, I can't believe he's talking about killing his mother. What? This is insane. Like, and it's like, yeah, this is who he is. Like, what did you think? Like,
right.
I remember when Love the Way You Lie was starting to get dissected years after it came out, and people were tripping over the I'll tie her to the bed and set this house on fire line. I'm like, what? Like, oh, y'all have never listened to him, clearly. Like, and that's proof of it. So now I feel like that's what he was sort of addressing, because all these videos were coming out, and all, Gen Z was trying to cancel Eminem, and there was a bunch of other people like, you can't cancel Eminem, and all of this type of shit. So I think he was addressing a lot of that on the album, and I think that's important. You know what I mean? We don't ever want to lose artistic expression for the sake of not wanting to be in trouble, because that's going to water down everything. That's going to water down the comedy. You know what I mean? When comedians feel like, oh, I can't make fun of this, or I can't make fun of that. No, you're a comedian. You should be able to make fun of everything. Everything can be funny. Literally everything. I've heard funny Hitler jokes. I've heard funny R-word jokes, grape. I've heard funny black jokes, slavery jokes, funny Jewish jokes, funny dead baby jokes. That's a whole thing. Like, everything can be funny.
It's just about how you deliver it.
Look at Matt Rife right now.
There is nothing that should be off limits if you can make it funny. If you're a comedian, and if you're a rapper, if you can make it sound good on a beat, there should be nothing off limits. You should be able to say whatever you want. Everyone doesn't have to agree with it. You know what I mean? Cancellation of an artist should realistically just be people not listening to him anymore. You get what I'm saying? Like, if he just all of a sudden wasn't streaming no more and all of that, that's him being canceled, really. But people trying to, don't have Eminem at Ford Field with the Jay-Z concert next time because he says homophobic things. So, no, you can't do that. You know what I mean? Because then you're robbing all the people who do want to go see him. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at with it. I'm very happy he was touching on these subjects on the album, especially at this time.
This is a subject show matter for another day.
Okay.
But because there's only one person who comes to mind when I say this, but I'm sure with some research time, there's others. The only artist that I can recall of late to be canceled or attempt to be canceled was R. Kelly. And for obvious reasons, everyone across the board does not. Let me rephrase. Everyone believes, yes, he should be canceled or should be held accountable for the egregious acts of what he did.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no one is saying because of his, like they don't believe what happened to this. The reason R. Kelly is the exception is because his music is so timeless and so good that people are still listening to it anyway. Like, the same thing kind of tried to happen with Michael Jackson to an extent and to a degree, but yet we still see where that, Thriller and the dance, he's not canceled because if you had a dance team and it was all 9-year-old boys and they had a synchronized Michael Jackson Thriller and it went viral and it hit, you wouldn't be talking about why are they dancing to Michael Jackson?
No.
There are no other you wouldn't say that. You wouldn't even be thinking that. So,
but I mean, we have seen it with Chris Brown. He got canceled for a little while. He came back, but it took years. Like, after that Rihanna situation, he had to come out with Deuces before he was back, and that shit was years later. So it took a minute for him. And then
DaBaby also kind of
R. Kelly. I really think the only reason R. Kelly actually got canceled, quote unquote, is because he went to prison.
Eric hit the hit. DaBaby
got canceled.
DaBaby uncanceled himself through bars.
Through hard work, just dropping freestyle after freestyle. Niggas was like, all right, we like this nigga again.
And then that nigga said, my price used to be $300K, but now it's down to $150. I'm wheeling this shit back up. Like, I mean, so in a sense, can anyone truly be canceled?
I really think the only way that you cancel somebody for real is prison or death.
Yeah.
That's it.
So
everybody has a chance to come back.
No, you say that. And I think, and Ja Rule never came back, and he wasn't canceled.
Ja Rule,
yeah, but that's different though. To me,
it is different.
That's different than being canceled. Ja Rule he X'd himself out a little bit, and that's when you X yourself out. That's not really being canceled. That's you taking yourself off out of play. Now, depending on what you did to take yourself out of play, maybe that can get you canceled. But as far as the actual actions, nah, he just took himself out of play. We've seen that multiple times where rappers just like fall off. That the falling off and being canceled does not equate to me.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I think the Ja Rule thing too, because we got to look at everything that was going on around that situation. That wasn't just the 50 beef. Murder Inc. was under investigation by the feds on trial at that same time. And then they beat that case, but their big homie Supreme doing life, you know what I'm saying? And that was kind of how they got tied up in that whole thing. So you're fighting the feds with your life, you know what I mean? Probably using every dollar you got for your, defense and all of that kind of stuff. So there was that issue going on. There was the Ashanti, Ja Rule, Irv Gotti kind of love triangle situation that was going on at the same time. So I'm sure that had something to do, you know what I mean? But despite all of that, one of Ja Rule's biggest songs came out after that beef, New York. New York was after the 50 beef. I'm from New York with Jadakiss and Fat Joe. That was after that. That's actually what caused the 50 Fat Joe Jadakiss beef, was that song. Because 50 even said it a few times. He said, "Oh, they trying to revive this nigga's career? No, now I got to destroy all of y'all." He said that was his mentality for coming at Jada and Fat Joe. So that might be Ja Rule's biggest song.
Oh, if I'd say it's his biggest, but it's definitely up there.
I'm not sure, because that shit was everywhere. Like, because that shit was a banger. Think about it. At the Dipset versus Locks verses, when Jadakiss did that verse, that shit went up.
No, you're right. I just don't know if I can put it past
like us sitting at home, we was hyped. Like, we was from New York for that 30 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I feel you for sure. I just don't know if I could say that is a bigger record than some of those like R&B ish records that he had. Look, those were everywhere too.
I want to see what Ja Rule's top 5 biggest songs are.
Wow, we got into a totally off topic here, but fuck it.
Oh yeah, one thing we're gonna do is go off topic.
Oh, it's number 5.
I knew it was gonna be up there.
What's number 1?
Put It On Me.
Yeah, I knew it was gonna be like
which
R&B
makes all the sense in the world. Yeah. Put It On Me is 1. Living It Up is 2. Always On Time is 3. I'm Real with J-Lo is 4. And then
damn, I forgot about that I'm Real shit.
And then New York. And then Holla Holla, then Mesmerize, then Between Me and You.
It's a good mix though. Like it's not all of his R&B cuts, because you said Living It Up is number 2. That's not an R&B cut. I mean, kind of. No, that's not.
I just know that there's no mix, there's no songs, there's no split. Yeah, you're not out and about and someone plays the Ja Rule verse or Ja Rule song.
Yeah.
Facts. No,
but again, he took himself out.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm even saying even on 2000s nights, even when it's themed for him to be in the building, they're not playing.
They probably will play
Living It Up is still.
They're gonna get that one off. They're gonna get
that one off. Do to everybody that be living it up. So what? Yeah, no, that's
they're gonna get that one.
No, I guarantee it. That shit'll still go up because people, they kind of. I'm not gonna say they forgave Ja because he didn't do nothing wrong, but you know what I'm saying. Like they got over the fact that he got destroyed in that beef, and so they're like, all right, we can listen to the old cuts again. Like,
and that's the other difference right there. There was no reason to forgive Ja Rule. It was just, all right, fuck it, we can listen to Ja Rule again. There's another difference where it's, okay, I forgive you. Now I'll listen to your music.
Yeah, there's only been a few people who have had to be forgiven, I feel like.
So I guess is there a rap artist who has done something unforgivable?
I'm sure there is, but I don't know.
I don't think so.
Nah, well,
I
not
don't think we've seen it
unforgivable.
yet.
Artists have done shit to make me mad, but unforgivable? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen that yet. Like as far as the masses just being like, "No, we're done with you altogether." We'll see with Diddy. Diddy might be the first.
Oh,
Diddy might be the one who that might happen.
Shout out to Eminem also slandering Diddy the whole album. That was great.
Yeah. Yeah, when he spelled out the rapper, the no essay with the that I just leave out the that was hard.
And
that was
blew out Cassie's name on one of the verses because he said fuck around with me, you'll get your ass beat worse than Diddy did. And I was like, ooh, okay. Like,
so
and then he proceeded to basically say why he felt like Diddy beat her up, and it was because Cassie didn't want to how can I say this on YouTube? Perform certain acts that gay men would like on them with tools. I'll say it that way. You know what I mean? And he was just kind of making fun of that. So I was like, okay, that's a good angle to take if you are going to talk about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Especially being Slim Shady. Like, he just shitted on Diddy the whole time. He didn't say anything about Cassie. So that's fine.
Diddy, like, this is going to sound crazy. I don't feel like what Diddy has done in the past or been accused of reaches the level of unforgiveness because of the creative marketing, the type of person that I see the pathway to him on the other side of that. So I can't say that. So just hear me out, right? Yeah. Everything that they say about Diddy is true. Okay. Everything. No, he doesn't deny it. He does his time. All of these stories and all of this is true. Let's even say Diddy's. We can't say bankrupt because I feel like he's insulated and sold shit. So there's nothing else. You can't get anything from him. So he's gonna still have a nice hearty nest egg, right? Yeah. With that being said, I know how society takes authenticity, redemption, and a pathway to change. Meaning, yes, when I was doing this, then I was high, I was drunk, I was not of my mind. It's almost a weird, authentic Steve Harvey-esque to start telling the inner demons of men. And when I was on the road and I was not right, and I wasn't walking in this life. I'm not gonna say he's gonna go churchy and start like preaching.
I think he absolutely,
but
that might be his best hope.
But I was just gonna say I could see it too, because if and this is gonna sound so fucked up, and I don't mean it to be like that. If Diddy was to start his own church, right?
Mm-hmm. No, go ahead, because I know where you're going with it.
No pun intended. It could be bigger than the Potter's house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it could be.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the difference between Diddy and pretty much every other situation that we deem as bad or negative or, cancelable or whatever, right? I don't know any other rappers who have been credibly accused of grape.
Yeah, I don't either.
That's unforgivable to most people. You know what I mean? You go to prison, if you got a grape charge in prison, then you know what I mean? Like you get X'd out. You get stabbed up. You got to go to PC. You can't be on the yard with the rest of us who are in here for robberies and murders and assaults and shit like that, like real street nigga crimes. No, you raped a woman? Nah, you're out of here. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that and messing with kids are the two things that are essentially unforgivable. And I think Michael Jackson, in his situation, the reason he got a pass is because he was found not guilty twice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, that, and then the documentary came out all these years later and everybody was like, oh, dude was lying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, it is always a case by case basis, but I do think in Diddy's situation, because there's trafficking allegations, there's again grape allegations. I'm saying with a G in front on purpose because we're on YouTube, so I gotta, you know what I mean, dodge the censors and whatnot. But grape charges, and yeah, like we haven't seen that before. I don't think. Like the closest that we've seen to it, unfortunately, because this is my guy, but it's Game. Game is the one right now who's allegedly, potentially, maybe, possibly about to lose his house because he lost a lawsuit to that woman, Priscilla Rainey, when he was filming his reality show. And she said that he touched her inappropriately. He says he never did, but he was overseas when he was supposed to have court. So the decision was automatically given to her because he didn't show up to court. And he just been saying, well, I didn't do that, so I'm not paying her. You know what I mean? And now the
that looks away.
You owe her millions of dollars, buddy. You owe her like 3.5 or something like that. So if you're not going to pay her, then we're going to take 3.5 million worth of stuff from you until you can pay that off. Allegedly. And like, you know what I'm saying? If you ask Game, he's not losing his house and he doesn't have to do none of that. But, everybody's going to try to save face. So, just looking at the situation for what it is, he's the only other one, but he hasn't even been canceled for it because it's still iffy. Because he's still maintaining his innocence. He's like, no, I never, you know what I mean? So that one's iffy. But the Diddy situation, it's like, you said you didn't do nothing that you were accused of. You said all of it was lies. Everybody's trying to take money from me. This is bull. I plan on clearing my name, all of that. Then the tape comes out. So now it's like, well, you said everything was a lie. Well, we see you beating her ass. And she said verbatim, exactly what happened in the lawsuit is exactly what we saw on that camera. So there's no doubt that she's telling the truth at minimum about that incident. Why is she lying about all the other stuff? So it looks like Diddy is a grapist. So it's like, if you are, then I don't know if that's forgivable. So that's we got to hold out still. You know what I mean? Let's see. But I think he first all the way canceled. So you can call him a rapper. But
I think Cat Williams gave us the gym. Gave us the blueprint of what's gonna happen. He's like, P. Diddy be calling and you got to tell him no. Right? Now, the flip side of that coin.
Mm-hmm.
Who has said yes?
What you mean?
So if Cat's telling you, yes, Diddy's calling me and offering me this, and you got to tell him, no, I can't do that. Who said yes?
If you ask academics, your boy Freak Millie.
So no, that's no. I'm just saying the list of yes.
No, I know.
I mean the list. The list.
I just wanted to say Freak Mill, Marcus. Don't make it serious.
Right.
So the list. No, I mean. So not
you don't even have to ask that question because we know the answer to that already. You can't even give a proper answer to that because there would be too many names on that list to even go through.
So that's why I think in this 2024 world we live in, I don't think they let Diddy become the new Epstein and take everybody down with them. I think too many people are connected to Diddy either directly or indirectly. I'm not going to say he doesn't get punished. I'm saying we won't know the truth.
I will say this. When the feds get involved, that kind of changes things.
97% conviction rate.
Yeah. And I'm not going to say that this is connected to Diddy or anything because I didn't even really read the full story, so I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But Irv Gotti is currently being sued for sexual assault and a bunch of other shit.
Irv Gotti is too?
Irv Gotti is, yeah. And I mean, my thing is they all kind of come from that same era. And I was listening to I was actually listening to Act Talk last night, and one thing that he said that kind of like that I kind of started thinking about was that he thinks that if all of this is true, that there's no way that other people in the industry around that time were also not complicit of the same behavior.
Of
And
course.
let's take Grape, let's take all of that, all the like super nasty perverse shit out of it.
Mm-hmm.
You can even go to the tactic of him bullying journalists.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to the tactic of him beating up other artists to get what he wants, threatening other artists,
Shout out
going
Drake.
up to buildings and threatening things that he doesn't want to come out. Just heard a story about him allegedly threatening the Vibe magazine editor because they had a cover story on him and he didn't want it to come out. So he went up to Vibe and basically said, "I'll kill you if you don't take that down." So it's like it's much more than just the super perverse shit. It's all of the other creepy predatory stuff that goes on in the music industry. So if Diddy is accused of just a little bit of that stuff, I can only imagine what the other music execs and other higher up people around that time especially could have possibly been doing to take advantage of other people.
Yeah.
Diddy is probably not the only one.
Oh no, yeah, no. I think he's the. I'm not gonna say the tip of the iceberg, but there are more Diddies out there for sure.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah. And I say this not as a shot, but like so many times we've had so many unsubstantiated claims.
Mm-hmm.
You know that the law and order stigma has become true. You know, for every one that was successful, that was actually did true.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sorry, for every false claim that got through that we found out was false, there were 10 real claims that never spoke up because they didn't think that they had a shot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because no, this was a payday. This was orchestrated. We got texts, and then
mm-hmm.
and you was like, damn, they really was out there to get money from this, and like, see, I told you, and not saying because both happened, right? Yeah. Both happen. That's the elephant in the room. You can be for a victim, right? For women's rights and all the rest of this equally, simultaneously, not saying in her situation or this situation, that this one is not lying. Mm-hmm. Or this doesn't have holes in the story. I don't think anyone who heard Cassie's story thought Cassie was ever lying. Ever. But there have been other allegations with other women and other celebrities where you was like, he was where? He was backstage at a club. Where it was you and the security on the trailer, and you went back to his trailer, but he touched you, and then you ran out, and you want $1 million now, and this happened 20 years ago or 15. It's such a vague claim. Like, you weren't scratched, you weren't hurt, you didn't go to the hospital, there was no police there's nothing else to it's like he said, she said. And then it's like, and then you post this picture. Hold on, you post this picture with you and them cheesing to prove that you were there when you said you were there.
Mm-hmm.
But that didn't prove that you was what happened after, which proves that y'all was in the same spot at the same time at the same place. And this ain't the same thing, but we've seen people come up to celebrities, because I take pictures, and I've done it all the time. Take my picture. They're like, oh yeah, they take a picture with somebody. Oh yeah, you see, we working.
Yeah.
You working.
Yeah.
You working. What you mean? Price just went up. Off of him doing this grin and grab with you?
Mm-hmm.
What? No.
I've seen that happen a lot, where like artists will take a picture with like a fan or whatever or something like that, and then the fan will like write some caption about like them hanging out together. And then you see the person that they tagged have to write something out and be like, no, that's not what happened. I was here. You were there. We linked up, took a quick picture, and then I was on my way. Don't be trying to have me caught up out here lying, saying that I was doing X, Y, and Z when I was just doing ABC.
I saw Samuel Jackson do that to somebody before, and that shit was hilarious. Because the dude posted a picture of him and he was like, yeah, kicking it with my man Samuel L. Jackson. And Samuel got in the comments. He said, nigga, we wasn't kicking it. That's just a picture.
Yeah. I mean, why? Like, that's got to be embarrassing.
Yeah,
got to be.
But anyway, so let's wrap it up. Final thoughts on the M album.
I would listen to it again. I just, it's a road trip album for me.
Eric?
There's a few songs on there that I will be repeating, especially the one with JID, Fuel, and probably Guilty Conscience probably a few times too. But yeah, no, there's some shit on there. There's definitely some shit on there.
There's probably like 8 cuts I added to the to my NWA Shady Aftermath Death Row family playlist.
That's a big ass family.
There's probably like eight joints off of this new one that I put on there. So, it's pretty solid. But yeah, y'all tell us what y'all think. This is the Bar Exam. This is special guest host Shane G, along with the homies, Mr. Marcus TV and Eric G. Make sure you follow them boys as well. Make sure that you join us on Patreon. The next Patreon is going to be fun. We're going to be talking about the worst albums of 2024 so far. The shit that we hate, the shit that we want to shit all over. And we're going to do that on Patreon. You know what I'm saying? Now for next week, we're going to talk about the best albums, and that'll be for y'all here on YouTube. But if you want that dirty one, go over to Patreon, join us at Ethos Media Network. But until next time, this is the Bar Exam, and we will catch y'all next week. Peace.